Raiders, welcome back to Sam's Bikes, where you know we only talk e-bikes. And today we have the legend Wyn Masters on e-talk. We talk all things e-bikes, how Wyn set up his GoFundMe page to support younger riders, and check out his new GT Force e-bike, and loads more. But first, a word from our sponsors. Today, the episode of eTalk is sponsored by Ride Concepts, the new kids on the block making amazing riding shoes. My go-to shoes are power lines for the flats, transitions for the clips, and Vice for that casual shoe that you can wear to the pub. And if you fancy winning your own pair of Ride Concept shoes, the lovely people at Ride Concepts have gifted me a pair to give away to celebrate the first episode of Lab Rats, which will be released in the following 2 weeks. Make sure you subscribe to Sam's Bikes and hit that notification button. All the details on how to enter this competition will be on the first episode of Lab Rats, so don't miss it. It's gonna be very cool. I'm very excited. Now settle back, grab a beer, grab a coffee, and enjoy the podcast with Wyn Masters. It takes me a little bit to get into this one because I was a bit nervous. Wyn is a bit of an idol of mine, an amazing guy. So riders, I hope you enjoy it. And here is Wyn and me having a chat. Wyn, thank you so much for your time and welcome to eTalk, mate.
Thanks for having me on. There's not too much going on at these current times, so it's always good to catch up with people virtually.
Oh, it's probably a good thing. If it was so busy, I wouldn't be able to get you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd probably be trying to do too many things. I still am sometimes, but yeah, it's kind of good to reset.
So I understand is this your first winter in England?
Yeah, this is my first winter, really my first proper winter since 2006.
Oh, so you've been living the endless summer.
Pretty much. 2006, I moved to Cairns, so there wasn't really a winter, to be honest.
Yep.
And then 2008, I've been racing internationally since then. So,
yeah, right.
Endless summer since then.
Lucky you. I mean, it's great to have a Kiwi on. I'm an Aussie from Adelaide, and I've been overseas for I reckon 15, 20 years. And I try and do the endless summer, but it's hard. It's definitely hard.
Yeah. It's a challenge sometimes, but
it's definitely
winter's not that good either.
Nah, in England, I lived in England for a while. It's not so good. England's pretty hard. So I want to start out by saying you're a bloody legend. I was doing my research and I did hear about this. You put on for the privateers, like a GoFundMe page, like in 2019, and you started supporting, you started supporting the athletes. I think that's such a bloody, Aussie and Kiwi thing to do. It's super honourable, man. Like, how did you come about that, and is that still going?
Well, basically, it came about because that's how I came through the sport. Is just like the first year in 2008, I just came over to Europe with not even really a plan and just made it happen somehow. Like, didn't really know many people, but just met people as I went. And it worked out pretty well in the end. Like, it was probably a good way to do it. And then because I've done it, it was quite hard.
Hang on one second. My light just fell off my protein fucking box. Go on.
Good. Yeah, it was quite hard sometimes. So I just felt like people don't realize how hard it is for those privateers, and it's quite good now that I had a platform, my own platform, that I could acknowledge that.
I do.
And then bringing them the fundraising, everyone wants to help someone, so it's giving everyone a good feeling as well that can donate to it.
Such a great idea. It's man, great work. And is it still going on now?
We didn't do it last season because it was like super uncertain
Yep.
the racing. But the idea is to get it back up and running this year and try to
Sweet.
build on what we had from 2019 and make it even bigger. And we've already got Shimano getting involved, so they're going to fund a lot of it as well.
Yeah.
And then just try and make it bigger and better.
Oh man, that's great. That's completely awesome. I'm sure it must have been so hard for you starting out. Like, you know, I heard you had like what, $10,000 in your pocket and come over and try and race. That's pretty hard.
New Zealand dollars back then weren't worth much either. So
it's like 3 to 1 or something.
Yeah, it was something like that, and kind of just made it happen. But lived pretty rough most of the time.
Yeah, I bet.
But also relied on like a lot of people that really helped me out along the way, and then it's kind of cool to now be able to help other people out myself.
Well, definitely. So let's go back. You know, I've done my research on you. I have my notes here, and you know, I'm interested to hear. You know, my background's BMX. I started in Aussie doing BMX, and you went straight to mountain bikes at 11. That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. Never really got into the BMX thing. Like my brother did a little bit of it because he was a little bit younger than me, so we'd go to it. But I'd already had a mountain bike, so I just do it on a mountain bike.
Yeah, right.
And always had like the bikes were probably way too big for me then, like because they didn't have kids' bikes then.
Yeah.
Like kids are pretty lucky now; they can start mountain biking on a real good bike already from like 5 or something, you know, like it's
crazy
mad.
The amount of stuff you can get now for kids. It's yeah, definitely. Commensal got a line. I think quite a few of them got a line now.
Yeah, nearly all the brands are involved in it, but it's quite cool for the kids. But they're definitely spoilt for choice now compared to what we were then with a big farm gate, really.
Yeah, definitely. No, I remember my race bikes were not that special. They were kind of like little mongooses that, you know, were rusting out, and they got the job done. I think we were a little bit tougher back then. I don't know.
Yeah.
So were you one of those guys that just started out being really good, or did you just were you like on the top of the game from like an early age, or were you someone that really pushed through? You know, how did your career start?
Well, it was kind of always competitive with my brother. Younger brother Ed, he's 2 years younger, so you don't want your younger brother beating you. And we'd like kind of slightly a team as well, because we'd like just build jumps. We had a couple other friends that would come and help as well. We just build jumps in our backyard, and they just got bigger and bigger, and we got better. I think that was like really good for our progression without us realizing that.
Yep.
And then our parents just let us dig up the backyard, so it's pretty cool.
Nice. Big farm or big backyard?
Yeah, we had a reasonable backyard, but we had to like sprint in off the lawn. So my dad wouldn't like that because it would like make a track in his lawn. But then we had like this other bit down the back where there was like some fruit trees and stuff, and we'd had all the jumps through there. Oh, so nice. We'd sprint on off the lawn and then get the speed up to hit the jumps. And then it got pretty extensive, the amount of digging we did. Like we just put years into it. And that was the natural progression. And then there were small local races where we lived in New Plymouth, west coast of North Island.
Yep. And
just did those, and then progressed to doing national races already around 12, 13. So it was like pretty quick rise up, and then already like kind of competitive quickly. So I think there was like a good crew of older guys that really pushed us, and we rode with them a lot. So that like probably fast forwarded our progression, I think.
Oh, definitely. So would you, like starting out, so you went from dirt jumping to then racing, What are you happier doing, racing or just riding?
I I still love racing, but I just pretty much enjoy riding all bikes, like any
Yep.
bike really. For
Yeah.
me, for me, it's just all bikes. So like two wheels, even motorbikes as well. Are really into it. So
Yeah, I
I
heard you just
kind
got a
of
new one. I'm a big fan of the Hookup podcast, so I heard you on the other day. You just got a new 150 or something, or 250?
125, 125,
125.
but
Yep.
a pit bike more.
Nice.
So it's like a CRF 125. It's like pretty much a farm bike, but it's bloody fun. And I've got a KTM 350 as well. So
Oh, nice, nice. So,
yeah,
does that mean you're resident in England for a while? Are you staying around?
yeah, we'll probably be here until probably another 2 years or so.
Okay,
But
good.
definitely probably not another full winter.
Nah, man, it's yeah, winter's hard, especially with the COVID. Are you allowed to, as a pro athlete, are you allowed to do more exercise than everyone else, or what's the?
Yeah. It's pretty easy actually. Like, um, well, in our area, you don't really notice the difference. Like, people are not quite following the rules. You know,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
the UK, people are quite relaxed on some of the rules, or the rules are too confusing, so they change them nearly weekly,
yeah.
and then everyone's just lost track of what tier 1, 2, 3, 4, bring in a new one each week. But as a professional athlete, you're still allowed to travel and train. So pretty
No,
much
that's
keep doing what I'm doing.
and that's good. And you're not just a professional athlete, man. Your Instagram has gone mental. You got you got the. I mean, I've just been checking it out. You got what 270,000 followers on Instagram, and you have your
Yep.
Wyn TV. Is that something? Is that taking up? That's obviously taking up a lot of your time now.
Yeah, the Instagram I got in like quite early before it like blew up as a platform.
Yep.
Sven Martin, the photographer, he just like said, "Oh, you need to get on this." So I was like, "Oh, I've got Facebook. I don't need it." He's like, "No, get on it." And then I got on it from there, and then it's pretty much, I don't know, it's like a part of your job now. So for me, I just make a habit of or routine that I post every day,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that can be a challenge. But it's important to keep people um, like waiting for you, whatever's coming next. You know.
Yeah, no, definitely. And do you think like we are 2021, the world's changing a lot. Do you think that is a super important part of being an athlete now?
Yeah, especially with the COVID situation, people have to see something, and if there's no racing, well, then they can't quite follow it. Or if there's like limited racing, well, then they want to see what's happening the rest of the year. So even if it's just an Instagram story, like they're still interested to see what's happening.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so
It's
you kind of have to do it.
and what
Whether
about Wyn TV? That's also blown up as well. I watch that all the time. So how'd you think of that? Like, did that just sort of come out of the blue?
yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know. We have like a bit of a Kiwi. I don't know. It's like a semi-serious humor, and I kind of like that style. So just get in there and do like some funny interviews and stuff. And it started already pretty early, so I think I was already doing videos from 2009 onwards.
No way. Yeah, man, that's
Like,
super early adaptation there. That's yeah, definitely.
yeah, I remember at the time it was a lot of money to go and buy a camcorder and a MacBook, but I was like, I need that.
Yeah.
And so I kind of, at the start, I was editing stuff myself, and then I started doing stuff for different websites, and I've been through a bunch of people now. So now it's like GT supports all the production, and then I've got a guy, Jules, that works with me and then films it all and edits it all for me. So
That's
it's
awesome,
actually
dude.
much easier, but it's still a lot of time when you're trying to race as well.
Oh, no, definitely. You know, it's as an outsider, just looking at what you've done, you know, you've got the Wyn's Wheelie Wednesday, which is also kicked off. You've got like a couple of things that, you know, as an outsider looking, you're a bit of a marketing genius. Is it something that you actually like? Like, it seems like you've got some really good ideas there. So something you enjoy?
Yeah, I quite enjoy, or just enjoy seeing what works, what doesn't, and just trying to be different to your average athlete, you know, and have fun with it as well. Like,
Definitely.
I always enjoyed doing wheelies, so it kind of,
Mate, you got some skill there. I tell you what, serious skill.
yeah, it's a few years of practice. So I used to do wheelies to school every day when I was at intermediate. So me and another guy would just try and wheelie the whole way to school every day.
And what's your advice for any e-bikers trying to manual an e-bike? Because that's hard.
Manual's hard. You have to really lean back a lot more than normal bike because it's heavier.
Yep.
And a lot of the weight is quite central, so it literally pulls the bike down really.
Yep.
So you just have to really initially pull pretty hard to get the wheel up high enough, and then once it's actually in position, you can once it's on the balance point, you can use the brake quite a lot and keep it steeper than normal bike. I think is keeping it easier because you stay steeper on the balance point. It means you're not holding that weight.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So you use your brakes and over leverage a bit, so you're more back.
Yeah, a little bit more than normal bike.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to try and hold that with your hamstrings and hips.
Are you clipped in when you're doing those manuals?
Some of them. So like I'm kind of like, if I was riding for fun or mucking around, then on flats, and on my dirt jump bike, it's always flats. But most of my race bikes or even my e-bike are clipped in. So
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So as you know, it's an e-bike channel, and we'll talk a little bit about e-bikes. Now, do you like e-bikes?
Yeah, I'm definitely a big e-bike advocate, and I don't quite understand how people cannot like them. Most of them that are probably hating on them haven't tried one properly.
Or a good one.
Yeah, or a real one, yeah. Like they've probably tried like one from 5 years ago that's not quite really a mountain bike.
That was my next question. What's the first one you tried?
First one I tried, probably one of the early GT ones.
Oh, yeah?
So, oh no, it'll probably be, I bought an e-bike from GT for my mum.
Yeah, right.
And it's just a hardtail, and I just pedaled that around town once. And I was like, well, I just got it, built it up, and I was like, I've got to try it out.
It's there.
I was like, yeah, pretty good.
I got on one like a year and a half ago, and just thought I'd ride my enduro bike, but I live in Madrid, and it's kind of like this in Madrid, like the mountains are big. I just never rode my normal bike again. I love them. And I did see on Insta that your new GT, what's it, the E-Force?
E-Force, yeah.
Man, let's do a little bike check. What have you done to that? That thing is off its face.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much got all the goodies on it. It's full XTR, so the brakes and the group set. I'm a big fan of the XTR brakes, actually use them for downhill as well.
Oh, really? So, over the Saints?
Yeah. I like the feel more, and the power is pretty good.
Yep.
The Saints maybe slightly more, like the feel lasts a little bit longer, but you're pretty good on the XTRs. I like the lever feel, and the modulation is a bit smoother than the Saint. The Saint's quite sharp.
Yep. Oh, nice.
So that's why I choose that. And then so I got XTR and now
12
XTR
speed
gears.
12
speed.
Yep.
Yeah. The new XTR. And then it's got the EP8 motor in it.
And how do you have the E8000?
I've ridden a little bit with the E8000 before.
Yeah.
So not heaps, but a little bit, because I got a e-bike for my wife, like the previous model of the E-Force.
Mm-hmm.
So she has that, and I was riding that for trail building quite a bit before my one arrived. And then so I've kind of done a little bit on each.
And what do you reckon the differences are?
Just in the trail mode, you feel quite a bit more in the power. Like it's just a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I just changed over from, I did a year and a half on the E8000, and now I've done about 1,000 Ks, now maybe like 600 Ks on the EP8.
Yep.
The EP8's got a lot more in eco and trail. I just feel like I can.
The boost is not crazy difference.
No.
But in the trail, it's really good.
And I think it also like progressively gives you more. So like it really is in line with your pedal stroke.
And it's nicer to pedal when it's flat compared to a E8000.
It's just silent, pretty much.
Yeah. And
when the
battery goes flat.
And the clunk?
Mine hasn't been bad. So
no. Your bike's aluminium?
Yep.
Yeah. Mine's aluminium. I've heard the carbon conducts the knock a little bit more. Yep. But I've got a Commensal Meta SX, and I haven't noticed the knock hasn't been a problem.
Yep.
So keep on with your what wheels you running?
We've got Stan's Flow front and rear.
Nice.
And then we just switched over to Michelin Tyres. So I've been on them for a bit over a month now.
And you'll be running the new DHs, no?
Yeah, I've got the DH22 on the front, which is like pretty aggressive downhill tire.
Yep.
But it's quite open tread pattern, so it works real good in winter as well.
Yeah, right.
And then I've got the DH mud on the back because it's pretty much muddy all the time here. And like e-bike, if you've got rear traction, it opens up your climbing a lot more.
Yep.
Like, especially if it's wet, you need rear traction. Like,
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to get up the hill, and then walk mode, you're going to struggle to walk up some of the muddy hills here. So I've got the mud tire on the back, and it's pretty nice to have it hooking up all the time.
Nice. And what's your go-to tire pressure in winter on the mud?
Well, it's hard to say. I'm set and forget. So
okay,
I probably set them probably a little bit softer than I used to, because the Michelin have quite a solid casing. So I'm probably around 25 front, 27 rear.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's good. Yep. And suspension?
Yeah, we've got the Fox 38 on the front, and it's a 150. And then on the rear, we're running the GHX, the Air one.
Oh, yeah. And is that, what about, you running, is it 20?
Float X2, actually.
Yeah, the X2. Are you running a mullet or 29? I don't know the GT that well. Is it a mullet or is it a 29?
No, on my enduro bike, I was running mullet, but then this bike just come 29, and it's been sweet.
Yep, short chain stay. I checked. It's a good geo, that bike. I like it.
Yeah, it's nice.
How do you there's big talks about the 38s versus 36. You're a pretty big guy. How you find, what's the major difference for you?
I think the 38 for an e-bike fork is like ideal, because that stiffness, that little bit extra weight in your down tube actually creates quite a lot more force on your fork. Like, I have to run a lot more pressure on my e-bike fork than my enduro bike fork. Yeah, and it's just that much more impact. So I find the 38 is really good on the e-bike. On the enduro bike, I use it as well, but I like the stiffness more on the e-bike.
Okay, so you're a lucky guy. You're fully sponsored and all that stuff. You got a beautiful bike. Well, not lucky, great rider. But if you had to take the GT out stock, and race it, and you could only make one change, what would it be for a race?
So I would have like the top model still, or I would have
top model. Yeah,
just the top model. All right.
No, base. No, let's go base model.
Base model, because it's pretty much the bike that my wife has.
Yeah.
I definitely can ride it fast, but I would change, probably the first thing I would change would be the tires, because it comes with like OEM ones that are super light casing and hard compound.
Yeah.
And that makes like a massive difference straight away. Like hard compound doesn't grip.
No, totally.
And then you get a flat tire pretty quick on an e-bike if you have a light casing.
Oh, dude, my king hate is pretty much all the bike manufacturers sell these 25 kilo bikes for like 6,000 to 8,000 euros.
Yeah.
And they put like EX, that sometimes they don't even put EXO casing tires on it. They put the thinnest, and I can't even ride the, like, I take it out once and I've blown the tires. Like like if you're going to ride it hard, they got to be putting different tires on those bikes. It's crazy. So I'm glad you said that. Definitely.
Well, I guess when it's in the cheaper model, it almost makes sense because you don't expect the top spec if you're paying the low money, you know.
Oh,
but on the top model, you want to have a downhill tire on it, really.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think you need that. You need the support as well. Like for me, the weight, the tires just roll. Like if you don't have good casing, they'll just roll out. So, are you racing this year? And what are you racing?
Yeah, well, I'm racing whatever's going to happen. But so we've got a schedule, but hopefully we'll stick to it. But I hear some changes potentially already, so we'll see how that rolls. But yeah, normally race all the downhill World Cup and most of the enduro World Series, like whatever I can fit without with the clashes.
I never raced ever in my life, downhill or enduro, but I was a bit of a gun as a kid on a BMX. I enjoyed it a lot. And this is my first year I'm going to go as a privateer to the EWS and race the electric season.
Sweet.
And I'm after some advice. Training, food, I mean, bike setup, anything you want to give me, I'll take it all.
Well, I've not done one of the EWS yet, but I don't know. I would say it's still a pretty big day, like busy.
Yeah.
It's over quicker than the normal race, maybe, but they're pretty busy when I've watched what they are doing. You know.
It looks. I stupidly decided to sign up for it and told told the people on the channel, and now I'm doing it. So
but it's definitely worth doing for the experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, there's not many other sports where you can just line up against all the best as well.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to be doing the amateur to start with.
Yeah, but you're like pretty much you're there with the guys, you know, like.
Yeah.
You might start an hour before, you know, or an hour after.
Yeah, it's the same day, and I think the amateur 50 goes first, and then the amateur 100, and then the pros. So no, it's so at the moment I'm doing 2 days in the gym and 3 days on the bike, and that one of the days on the bike I'm not mimicking a race, but I'm kind of doing like a 3-hour long ride where I'm doing like 4 or 5 peak sessions. So I'm like peaking out for 2 or 3 minutes. So yeah, any advice?
And probably practicing your technical climbing.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Some of the climbing stage is pretty technical, some of the ones they've had so far.
Should I be clipped in or go flats?
Well, I find climbing much easier clipped in.
I kind of not freak out. I'm not the greatest like technical climber, and when I'm clipped in, I kind of feel like I'm attached to the bike. You know, like it's I don't know. It's something I have to practice, definitely.
Yeah, I think, but it's easier to keep spinning in an e-bike. operates pretty well when you're at a relatively high cadence. I think it's like maybe 85 or 86
Yeah.
revolutions
Yeah.
per minute.
So good high
That's
cadence. Yeah.
that's like the ideal cadence for the power.
Yeah. Definitely.
And it's easier to keep spinning over rough ground with clips. Yeah, the climbing is pretty key as well as the descending. But then you just add that into your ride. You do a technical climb up and then do a descent down.
And what about nutrition? So what, you've been training now for 15 years, long time. What is something that, before a ride, if you're doing a training ride, what are you eating?
In the morning of a race, or pretty much every morning, I have a big bowl of oats with some fruit.
Yep.
It's pretty simple, but it fills you up pretty good to start the day. And then throughout the day, it's like generally find like some high calorie energy bars.
Yep.
So I don't have to carry too much. Like, it's the higher the calories, the better, because you don't want to take heaps of stuff with you.
Any go-to brands that don't mess your stomach up?
I've had one, but it's a New Zealand one. So it's like last year I bought a whole bunch and brought them over for racing.
What's the plan after racing? Have you want to stay in the sport? You want to be a coach, or any ideas going to
Yeah, a little bit of
commentating?
already done a little bit of coaching here and there, so a little bit more of that.
Yep.
Hopefully help younger guys getting into it. But it's hard to say like what's after the sport, because I don't feel too much different to what I did 10 years ago.
Yep.
So I feel like with social media and content, you can keep going.
Totally. And also, like, we're in an age now that, I don't know, like the technology and the recovery devices and all the things that people are doing, it seems like athletes are lasting longer. Look at
Yeah, I
Minaj,
think for sure.
39,
Yeah.
mate, and still killing it. Yeah.
And then Greg Minaj winning World Cups last year, so it's like,
I know. I mean, unbelievable. He's for me, I love seeing that, because he's still riding as good as he rode 15 years ago.
yeah.
Amazing. Hey, I saw that you went on a Wahoo GPS ride today. Is that your first Wahoo device?
It is my first computer that's Wahoo. I've had the watch for a few weeks,
Yep.
and now I just got the computer.
Because I don't want to slag products here, but I've had my Garmin now for, oh man, my Garmin's keep on breaking. I don't know why. I'm so over
Mine too.
Garmin. Yeah, man. Or like it's just out of warranty. And it's never worked properly. It always turns off or turns
Yep.
on at the middle of the night and starts making noises. And
Or it doesn't sync, and that's so annoying.
or you're using Mac? You're
Yeah,
on
on the
Mac
Mac
computers?
and iPhone.
Oh man, the software does not work well with Macs either. I've been trying to get
No,
that. Anyway, so how's the Wahoo? Is it something that's worth a look?
I definitely like it.
Yep.
It's much easier because I use Komoot as well. Do you know Komoot?
Oh yeah, yep.
That's like probably for me, it's been like the best app for planning even mountain bike rides,
Yeah, right. Komoot.
because
I'm gonna
it
check
show
that
you
out.
all your elevation. You can plan. You can use like highlighted areas where people say there's a good track or something, and just look what's there. So I planned like a 200k mountain bike ride on there before.
Yeah, right. And does that work good in Europe or just in England, or is it all over Europe?
I think all over Europe, eh?
Yeah, right. Sweet. I'll definitely check that out
And then
because
I can, from Komoot, because I've got the app on my phone. I normally plan the Komoot ride on the laptop because it's easier to map out all the waypoints
yep.
and then see what you've got. It show you how much elevation and everything, and then it's easy that goes onto the app on my phone, and then I just sync it straight to the Wahoo.
Sweet. I'll definitely have to check that out. Definitely.
And the Wahoo is so easy to follow the maps,
Which
whereas
one?
Garmin's hard to follow a map.
We go out
It's like-
riding We go out
You're
riding
like
with
looking at
guys.
the little line, and you're like, where the hell am I meant to go?
You go out riding with guys, like everyone would have had this, and someone's like, "Yeah, I've got the route. Don't worry, follow me." And then we're going somewhere. And, oh no, it's not this way. Let's go back. And you're like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck?"
It's a tiny little map,
Yeah.
and you can't quite follow.
So which one do I get? What's the model?
What did I get? I'll just have a look. I've got the Element Rome.
Element Rome.
Yeah, but that's the big one, so it's like easier to see
Yeah,
the
that's
screen for
that's
maps.
the one I want, definitely.
Yeah.
I reckon right now with COVID and the e-bikes, we're going through a massive bike revolution. You know, like bikes
Yeah.
are completely sold out everywhere. It's great for the industry, great for us. And you combine that with e-bikes, I think the acceleration of the industry is going to be mental over the next 5 years. Where do you see us in 5 years, and how do you think e-bikes are going to affect the sport?
It's a real hard one because, like, will e-bike racing become as popular? Like, that's a question no one knows right now. I'm not sure that it can replace normal racing, but they definitely want to market those products. But you can still market all products through downhill racing. It's like similar to the Formula One model, where they market all sorts of products for a car that no one can buy or is unattainable. And then the interesting will be if a bunch of motorcycle manufacturers get involved as well.
Yeah, that's a good call. We've got KTM and Yamaha just got in as well.
Yeah, Yamaha's just in, Husqvarna's in, so
Husqvarna.
it's like
Yeah.
it's
That's an interesting thing you say, because I've heard it. You know, the channel's reasonably big now, and I'm getting a lot of people. Well, there's three types of people: are completely new to the sport altogether. Then you got mountain bikers, like downhill enduro riders, cross country riders coming over. Then you got enduro motocross riders coming over because it's cheaper and more fun,
yeah,
because they don't have to have a trailer, they don't have to change their
yeah,
tires
it's
all the
so much
time,
easier.
and so much easier.
Yeah,
So yeah, you're right there, man. Definitely.
so
And
I think that could bring in a lot more to the industry as well.
definitely. Oh, you got to look at it like, as far as, I mean, e-bikes just so much fun, and the accessibility. My main concern is too many people de-restricting them, and we get banned from riding.
Yeah, and or the ones that are not really they're not pedal activated
Yeah,
bikes, like they have a throttle. That's a problem because then people will blanket
everyone.
uh,
Yeah.
e-bikes as such, but it's actually a motorbike. The ones some of them are.
Yeah, totally. And we've got that in Madrid, you know, like we see Madrid's not many people. Have you been to Madrid?
I've only driven through.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, if you're ever near, you got to come and ride e-bikes with me, because we've got just outside of Madrid is like 2,500 meter mountains, like
right.
pretty
So
much like 2,000 meter climbs, and you're in the middle of nowhere. So you can endure
yeah,
a motorbike ride there really easily, and no one's going to see you. And you
yeah,
do see people on e-bikes, de-restricted e-bikes, and I'm like, man, come on, like, just get a normal e-bike. It's still fun. Like, don't
yeah.
ruin it for everyone.
Okay.
Now, if you were going to buy, like, if you were going to build, say, GT came to you and said, "All right, Wyn, we want you to design an e-bike. What's your dream bike, whether it's in 5 years or now? Like, how would you build it?"
Well, I think Shimano has a patent, but I would get rid of the derailleur and chain, like externally.
Yep, definitely.
Put that inside, like so you're pretty much copying the model of like a motorcycle, how the gears work, a
Yep,
little bit, but in a much smaller scale. So everything's internal and the chain would be more, and I'd put the chain more internal.
yep,
Um, just try and keep it out of the mud.
yeah,
I don't
definitely.
I don't think like right now we're riding e-bikes with like a mountain bike chain, which is like doesn't
ridiculous.
make so much sense.
And that's why I asked you about your 12 speed, because I reckon I don't know, I'm not a racer as well, I'm going to be racing, but I'm thinking 11 speed, man, because the chain's thicker and
Yeah,
stronger.
or you
Um,
even go down to old school gearing, like the bigger chain makes more sense. But I'm pretty aware of my gear changing
yep,
on the e-bike, whereas a lot of people that just get into it, they're not really careful with that, because you can't be going up a hill and boost and just click a gear like that's the same as being in a full sprint and clicking a gear, you know.
totally. Or changing your car without using a clutch.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. So
You've got to
like
take.
a lot, but it's easily done if you're not used to it.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
totally agree. So what's it like having a younger brother on the circuit? Is it still a little bit competitive? Are you guys good mates? Is it
It's definitely good because see him at all the events. Like he's in a different team, so he even stays different place and everything. But just see him at all the races, and it was more competitive. Now it's pretty relaxed. We kind of support each other, so
what do you mean it was pretty competitive? Come on, what's the
I like we
stories?
were more competitive before. Now I don't think we'd ever be worried who beats who. You know,
No bike sabotage or anything?
nah. But it's more. It's just kind of cool because we're both doing what we love. So
Yeah. No, it's good. He had a great year, really good year. Or the year
yeah,
before, 2000. Oh man, I'm getting confused. 2019, he
19.
had a good year. So, you've lived all over the world now, or you've traveled all over the world, and you lived in Germany, in Berlin. Did you live in, or Hamburg?
Munich.
Munich for a couple of years, and now England. Uh, where do you reckon? Where do you like? Do you like living in Europe, or do you miss home, or what's the go?
I like to live in Europe when I'm racing here. Like that makes a lot more sense.
Yep,
It's so much nicer to come home between events than and to be at home rather than just live out of a bag for 6 months or whatever.
totally.
But eventually, living in New Zealand is like the ultimate place to live. I think
It is pretty good. Australia,
for lifestyle.
yeah. I was back. We got caught in COVID, and I went back to Australia for my birthday for my 40th, and I was supposed to be there like a month, and we were there 4 months.
Oh yeah,
And in the end, I was like, you know what, man, this is pretty good. Like life's pretty good here. Like
yeah, yeah,
it's such a different life. It's
yeah,
people that haven't gone to Australia or New Zealand don't really, I don't know, not don't get it, but it is very different to Europe.
yeah, for sure. But Europe is cool from the other side that you can just even jump in your car, drive 4 hours, be another country, another culture. And if you fly 4 hours, you can go anywhere, like so many places.
Yeah.
And there's so much history, so it's quite cool from that side.
The e-bike is so I said like a lot of e-bikers are new to the sport completely. Like 30 or 40% in the last 2 years, apparently. It's mental. If you were to advise a new rider, whether it was coaching or something new for their bike, what would you recommend? Like $200 or $300 or euros or whatever. What would be something that would improve their riding experience?
Definitely, probably the tires for a start.
What tires are we talking about again?
Oh, we've put some Michelins on there.
Oh, yeah,
They've got they've got e-bike tires too, the e-wild, I think.
yeah. I had one of them. They're pretty good.
Yep.
They're actually real good in
Yeah,
the mud.
pretty aggressive tread. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, any of the if you don't run the e-wild, then the downhill model, because you want just a heavy casing. Like the bike's heavy, so it doesn't make a difference to make it slightly heavy. You're better having good tires. And you probably have to punt. Most people would be running their bike way too soft.
Uh huh.
So you're probably best to go to a shop that knows what they're doing or someone that does know what they're doing and ask for a bit of advice that side.
So when you say soft, you're talking about suspension setup.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because you think a lot of people think that they need it soft to be able to use it, and then they kind of have it really soft. The fork bottoms out when you hit a hole, and then all your weight's already on the front. You're going downhill, and your weight's on the front. You're kind of like in trouble.
Yeah. Very good advice.
And then probably you would almost want to spend some money on the coaching if you just started. Like if you have no clue and you're coming in like not at a young age, it's going to be much more valuable to spend, I don't know, €100 or whatever for a short coaching session with someone just to get the basics. Like, because I can watch someone and see like, oh, he's got that wrong, and then that's going to like speed up your progress.
I 100% agree with you, man. Like you see people going out and buying new forks and new this and new that.
Yeah.
Like, dude, get some coaching. Like it's
Ride your bike that you've got, even if it's not the best one, because you'll probably learn more from riding an average bike to start with.
I'm going to steal some questions off, I don't even know whose podcast it is, but if you could have a coaching lesson with someone, anyone, who would it be?
It's a hard one because you can say like the best person at cornering maybe is Sam Hill, but then can anyone else like simulate his style? Everyone has their own style and approach to doing things as well, which is kind of crazy because in this sport, you've got people of all sizes and stature performing at the top end, whereas other sport people would look similar, or they'll even in like motocrosses, they'll be like, you need to ride like that. There's a few ways to skin the cat in mountain biking.
Man, you're right. You've got Greg Minnaar, who's like 6'2", and then you've got Troy Brosnan, and Danny Hart, who are little fellas, and they're all
Laurie Greenland as well.
Yeah,
and then
all
in between as well, you've got guys around 5'9" or 6 foot.
Lorik's not that big, is he?
Not big, but he'll be solid. He's heavy. Yeah.
Who would be your 2-hour training? Doesn't have to be a bike rider. Can be anyone.
Probably someone like more. I feel like I would learn from maybe Loic and his mechanic.
Yep.
They would never do that, but
you never know. You can ask.
They have a lot of secrets,
Mate, you got to put him on Wyn TV and just hit him up live. Say, come on.
His mechanic's pretty good at keeping secrets. Just the knowledge they have to set a bike up and what they know works because they've tested so much.
What did he do in Portugal he played around with the low speed compression on his fork, didn't he? At the bottom.
Yeah, he turned it harder.
Yeah, made sense. It was clever.
Hard to do when you're racing though.
That bottom section was like flat out.
But then there was slightly bumpy bit just before the finish as well, so you had to ride that harder, I think.
I remember a few years ago, I loved it when Gwynny put on a lockout, old school lockout on his YT. Did you see that?
I think I remember, yeah.
Yeah, he put in like his...
Loic's had a lockout a couple of times and also like pull out a semi-slick tyre for the qualifying and finals,
He's sneaky man.
Yeah, they're all about the little tricks. They're definitely not just pulling them out of the hat. They've done a lot of testing. Like, he's probably one rider that does the most testing.
His bike position, how he rides, is, for me, is always so...
It's relaxed.
Yeah, and in control. The bike's not jumping around. He's controlling completely the bike, where he doesn't even look that fast.
No.
Advice to your younger self at 16, or someone that is, coming up in the rankings that wants to get a ride with a factory or even a co-sponsor. Any advice to your younger self or that new rider coming through?
It's a hard one for myself. At 16, I was doing well, but then I didn't go racing internationally straight away. So just in Australia, really, and I didn't get to Europe until I was 21. But that was more financial, I think, just because of it's pretty expensive. But if I could have, I probably might have benefited from coming earlier, but that's a hard one because you don't know if you didn't do it, and maybe being that little bit older, I had a bit more street smart, maybe just to make it happen. But I would say just go and have a crack because you never know if you don't try. So if racing is what you want to do, then you have to go to the place where it's happening, and that's in Europe or wherever the biggest races are, and just have a crack. Otherwise, you never know, and you can't live wondering what could have been 10 years ago or whatever. Then you're never going to be happy, you know.
And it's a big thing for an Aussie or a Kiwi to do. It's a long way
Yeah,
away. You don't have a lot of money,
yeah,
and you can burn a lot of money in Europe real quick.
yeah.
So,
If you want to, you can burn your money pretty fast. But like, I think if you're young and you're willing to have a crack and make it work, you'll make it work no matter what, you know. Like, there'll be some tough times, but they'll be way better to look back on than the easy times if you had all the money in the world, you know.
now I've got a cheesy question: that if you could have a billboard at the end of Fort William downhill, fully packed race, World Cup, what would it say?
Billboard.
Billboard can say anything. Watch my YouTube.
I don't know. Probably have to be something funny. Not bad, good size.
Good call. Good call.
Yeah.
And let's go now and give a bit of love to your sponsors. Do you want to give a shout out, just who your sponsors are at the moment, who's helping you out?
Yeah. So the main one is GT, obviously. I've been on board with GT 5 years already, and just locked in for even more. So it's pretty good. Actually, my first mountain bike was a GT as well. So things kind of went full circle there.
Nice.
Just took a few years, but finally made it onto GT. So GT's the main one that looks after me. Then we've got pretty much Alpine Stars. Shimano's been really good recently, and they're getting involved with the privateer support as well. So it's cool.
Nice.
It's always good to have brands that have the same like belief as yourself, you know. And I've been a long time on Shimano. I like the products. They're, in my mind, the most reliable. Like, they won't release new products without it's a long product cycle,
Yep.
and they bring out a new product. It's like tried and tested. So pretty happy with that. Alpine Star for clothing and protection, and then those are like the key ones. Fox, we're on the Fox suspension, Stan's wheels, Michelin Tyres, and those are like the key.
Cool, man. There's some
Yeah,
damn good sponsors there.
yeah, we got pretty good brands behind the team, so it's cool.
Definitely.
Good, like the premium brands to work with, you know.
I mean, if you want to be up there, and you got to be working with those guys, Fox and Shimano. Like, that's some of the best stuff out. Well, in my mind, it's the best stuff
Yeah,
out. Now, last question, and it's kind of tinkering on what we spoke about before. Very lucky you've travelled all around the world. You ride all different like mountain bikes, motorbikes. If you could be anywhere for one day with your mates, where are you going to be riding, and what are you going to be riding? What style of bike?
this is a tough question.
I love to know because I love to travel, man. And I like when people say that, I go, oh, I got to go to that place. Like, that sounds.
Not sure because like if it's also got to be kind of social as well.
It's like for me, it's Finale Legura, because like
Well, you
that
can
place.
just finish on the beach and you've had a big day, and it's like
You
it's
got
pretty
that
epic.
Italian beer, you got pizza, you got thousands of like-minded people around, that sort of thing. So it's like, not just the trails, the people, the environment, all that stuff.
Yeah, I could also say I quite like Sintra in Portugal.
Sintra, Portugal.
Yeah,
I haven't been there.
you
Gonna
can
have to.
do this the Donkey Trail. Like you could do a few laps of the trails in the area. It's
And
very close to Lisbon as well.
Is that downhill, enduro?
It's the more enduro style. Yeah.
Yep.
So you can do a pretty good ride, and then you can finish on this donkey trail, which takes you to the beach, like pretty epic beach, and have lunch there,
Oh,
or dinner or whatever, and then there's surfing there as well. So you've got a few bases covered there,
definitely
and
going to do
Portugal's
that.
pretty reasonable price for everything.
Oh, definitely, dude. That's going to happen. I mean, I'm 41 now, and I'm living my dream a little bit late. But we just bought a brand new camper van like this year,
Sweet.
and so that's going to be the race van. I'm going to be doing maybe a little bit like you. I'll be talking to some of the athletes at the races, trying to do a little bit of PR work, covering the events, and doing all that stuff. So I need a camper van to do that.
Yep.
And so Sintra could be the first trip.
Oh, it's a good spot.
Yeah, I haven't been.
There's a lot of good stuff in Portugal, actually.
For riding or just for
Yeah,
traveling?
for riding and
Yep.
just all around, really, and for motorbikes as well. Pretty good country.
Yeah, I've been there, but I haven't been riding in Portugal. I've been there
Yeah.
traveling, but it's a good call.
Oh, it's worth checking out.
Mate, thank you so much for your time. And riders, if you have any questions for Wyn, hit him up on his Instagram. The guy's got 270,000 followers, and he got back to me in like 5 minutes. It was amazing. I was so happy to have that. Like,
I don't muck around, mate.
Nah, you're a legend. So good. And like if you have any questions, I'll flick them over to Wyn. Whatever, we'll get back to you. And riders, stay safe out there, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.